Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. As I promised earlier, that the next video would be on the tips and guidelines for the numerical questions. Those are being asked in the BOE papers. Now, so far as the importance of the numerical questions, let me tell you one thing, that the major possibility of scoring marks in BOE papers are if there are numerical questions, and if you solve that with the units properly mentioned, with the calculations properly done, and with the steps, the proper steps given there is no reason why you cannot get 6 out of 6 if it's a question of 6 marks, that is. Or if it's a question of 10 marks, sometimes there are numerical questions of 10, sometimes as long as 15 marks question, then you can get 100% of this marks by maintaining the steps, the units properly mentioned, the calculations correctly done, which is not possible in a theoretical question. See, to get a 100% scoring in a theoretical question, you have to absolutely replicate the answer the way it is there in the examiner's mind who is checking your question, right? So that is practically not possible. But so far as numerical questions are concerned, yes, it is possible. And therefore, in order to get the major marking, major scores, as you are already knowing that the passing percentage is the average of 50%, then you have to, place a little more faith on the numerical questions. I know that it is a little difficult for those who have left the academics for a very long time, which is for many of you. Uh, and you try to avoid numerical questions, but then let me tell you that the type of questions that are being asked in BOE are not very, not very difficult. There are some few types of questions which we have discussed earlier, that there are questions coming from some of the topics like the properties of steam, combustion, and such. So it's not very difficult to score. Now, in order to you know prepare properly, one guideline from me is to be prepared with the essentials. What are the essentials that you should always carry when you are preparing for BOE? You should always carry three of these essential things. One is a notebook, a large, thick A4 size, let us say 300, 400 pages A4 size notebook. Whatever you do it in this notebook only. Don't use, small notes and small pages, individual loose pages. Never do that, because whatever you're preparing, you will need that as a reference just before the examination to go through, right? To keep everything in one place. That is the one thing. Second thing is that you need to have an engineering calculator with you. Yes, you can use your smartphone as an engineering calculator while solving the problems, but remember this, that the smartphones are not allowed in the examination hall. And the practice on a calculator is again essentially needed. That is very, very important. And third thing is to have a steam table with you, right? Get a steam table. It is not very difficult to get a steam table. Even in Amazon, you can ask for a steam table. You can buy a steam table. Go for a SI unit steam table, because that is the unit system most of the states are following in their BOE questions. But if you can get a combination of SI and MKS, that would be best. But yes, get a steam table, because most of these questions, of course, properties of steam related questions will be needed the help of steam table. But you go for performance related questions, you go for condenser questions. Most of these questions will need the help of a steam table. So yes, get a steam table right from the very beginning. Know how to read a steam table. That is very important, right? Get into that practice. So these are the three essentials which you should have while preparing for the BOE, particularly for the numerical questions. Now, taking a look again to the topics which are taken from where the numerical questions are coming. Now, basics of measurement, properties of steam, combustion, performance, efficiency. These I have already told you that these are the areas from where the questions are coming. Sometimes they are also asking questions related to blow down calculations. They will give you a allowable TDS in the feed water, allowable TDS in the boiler water, and they will give you the steam generation, right? And they will give you they will ask you what will be the blow down percentage you need to maintain the the boiler water TDS within the limit, and such calculations are sometimes being asked. But if you want to do well with the numerical problems, yes, you definitely need practice, but you need a solid foundation of the numerical calculations. And for that, these are the three areas, these are the three topics which you should learn very, very thoroughly. Basics of measurement, because these are all related to measurements, various values are being given, certain values are being asked for you to calculate, right? So the basics of measurement, the 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 relation between work and power and energy and all that. These are the things which you would be requiring very frequently, right? Unit is one thing, as I told you earlier, that when you do a numerical calculations, you should be very, very particular about mentioning the unit with each step. Every value should be followed with a unit on your paper, unless it's a ratio or a numerical number. That is. Properties of steam would be needed for various calculations. Performance and efficiency is one area from where most of the states are asking questions. Majority of the states are asking questions from performance and efficiency. And while doing the calculations of performance and efficiency, you need a solid understanding about the properties of steam as well as the combustion. Combustion on itself is a very, very important area. Again, most of the states will be asking you questions about from combustion topic. That is to calculation of CV, calculation of gas composition, calculations of theoretical area and the actual air, theoretical air and actual air that is being used in the combustion. Those are the areas where you need good practice. In fact, combustion is not only important for BOE, it is also important for your actual operation practices. Unless you know combustion, you understand combustion, you can assess combustion, you won't be able to be a good operation engineer in boiler. Now, these are the three areas. If you put a little more time, it will give you benefit at the end, right? So that will be my suggestion to you. Uh, Draft is another. From draft, you mostly get the natural draft question, the questions related to chimney draft, right? You also get a question from this calculation of fan power and such, which are pretty easy as such. Strength of material, uh, again, is a very big subject, right? Any mechanical, electrical engineer would be a little wary of this subject because there can be very tricky questions that can come from strength of material. But honestly speaking, this is the easiest of amongst all of them so far as BOE is concerned, because in BOE questions, they're asking very basic questions like, calculation of torque, calculation of stress. Uh, they will ask you to calculate the uh, thickness of a cylindrical pipe from the consideration of cylindrical stress and all that thing. So these are very basic questions. Now, I will first give you the importance of the basics of physical measurement. See, uh, whenever you deal with any numerical problems, so you will be given one particular measurement in the system, that this is that. Now calculate this. Now these are all physical quantities. right? Various physical. They might be giving you pressure. They might be giving you the temperature, heat, energy to be calculated. They might be giving you the volumetric flow, right? So all these physical measurements are required to be understood very, very thoroughly. We have done that in our school days, actually. Eighth and ninth physics subject is basically dealing with these things. But those time the purpose of the study was different, and this time the purpose of the study is different. You need to understand those because you need to use those, right? So in any basic of physical measurement, any physical measurement, you get two values. You get two values. One will be a number, a value, which will quantify it. So 5, 10, 11, 20, such value would be there, right? But you will not know about that physical matter, the physical quantity, unless you know the unit. Because our unit following that value is going to represent which quantity we are talking about. And when I talk about units, the SI system of units are mostly used nowadays, right? And SI system of unit is also very scientific unit system. If you know the unit of the answer, and if you properly follow the units of the values those are been given, the physical quantities values, right? The multiplication of division of those given units leading to the answer unit is the step, basically. That is the, but there's the beauty of SI system. But in various questions, they will be also giving you certain quantities in MCAS system, right? And you need to know the relation between that MCAS unit to the SI unit of the corresponding quantity. So having a thorough uh, understanding of this various units of various quantities, various physical quantities in both MKS and SI would be an additional benefit, right? In fact, what I suggest is, uh, uh, if you do not understand unit, in one word, if I want to say that if you want to pass BOE examination, you have to be very thorough about the units, right? So what you do is, the notebook which I have mentioned, right? So take that notebook and the first 30 pages or 15 to 20 pages, you keep it as a ready reference. And then put all the relationship between various units, all the relationship between various quantities, all those things which are required to be remembered by you while solving a numerical problem. Put those under this reference, right? So make a reference section very thoroughly and do it, giving a level. For example, we are talking about volume, uh, flow, area, uh, and such. Now, those physical quantities will be under one particular level. Then talking about the pressure, various pressure units, the relation between, various quantities with pressure, you keep it under the level of pressure. So level it so that when you need, while solving a numerical problem, you just come to the reference page and you check it, you are going to get it. Not much time would be lost. And you go on doing it, it will be memorized because as very simply speaking, you need to memorize all these relationship like uh, various unit conversions, right? Kg to pound, kg to newton, what is the relation between that? Kg per centimeter square to bar, right? Then kilopascal, all those relationships, unit relationships, are very important to be memorized. So do that, all those things, put it under the reference section, right? Level it properly so that you can reach it easily. And that is going to help you a lot in the preparation of numerical questions in BOE. Okay. Now, certain guidelines while solving a problem. First of all, uh, don't get bogged down by the size of the question. The larger the question is, the longer the question is, the easier, mostly the easier the answer would be, right? It will be less difficult to solve that particular question if the question is long. That is the standard I have seen. That is the standard practice I have seen in all these BOE papers, right? Don't get afraid by just the size of the question. Don't think that they will be always tricking you with question. If you think something is very simple, and you might wonder why this many marks have been assigned to this question, don't worry. There are such occasions where you find that very easy questions have been given and a reasonably high amount of marks have been assigned to that question. So don't think that there must be some trick there. It's not like that. If a particular value is given, number of values are given, don't think that all those values will be required to solve the question. Sometimes they are going to give you some bogus values just to confuse you, right? If you are thorough about that topic, you know how to solve this, you know what are the measurements those are required to solve this. So don't get confused. Take only those measurements from the question and solve the last question. You need to reach the answer. That is the first thing, right? And while solving these problems, follow certain rules. Okay. Number one rule is that don't go for approximation. In BOE, there is no place for approximation. For example, atmospheric pressure in kg per centimeter square is 1.033 kg per centimeter square. In bar, it is 1.013 bar. So don't take 1 kg per centimeter square or 1 bar as the atmospheric pressure, right? The values, correct values to the decimal is very much required to be followed. Otherwise, your answer is going to be deviating from the correct answer by a long margin. Now, when you round off a value, suppose you calculate something and you get a value of this many something something point something something something. So naturally, you need to round off. So when you round off, follow a particular standard. If the value is more than one, then after decimal, after 2 digit, you round off. If the value is less than one, then go for 4 digit after the decimal. For example, if the value is 2.635829, naturally you need to round off. So you round off it to the second digit after the decimal. So it will become, since it is 58 after 3, so it will become 2.64. But the same value, if it is 0.635829, then you round off to 4 digit after the decimal, because that will require for the correctness of the calculation, right? So this time your value will be 0.6358. Since 29 is less than 5, it will be 0.6358. But above all, if you want to uh, have a correct calculation, try to avoid frequent use of calculator. Because many times you will find that intermediate calculations you can carry out, right? So naturally your tendency would be to carry out the calculation and put the value on the paper. Every time you put the value on the paper, you will be rounding off some, and then there will be some amount of incorrectness in that particular value. So when you finally do the calculation by multiplication division of those found value, right, your final answer will be deviating by a big margin, right? So try to avoid the intermittent use of calculator. There are many disadvantages. Number one, you can make mistake every time you calculate, use the calculator. So every time you are going to double check your calculations, right? And the second time, if you get a wrong answer, you have to go for a triple checking. So it is going to take more time for you, more chances of error there, right? And thirdly, that, as I already told you, the amount of error that will be accumulated by individual intermittent calculations, that will lead to a much greater error in your final answer. So I will show you with an example. Let us say that I have got a questions like this, that a forced draft fan is discharging 100 meter cube of air per minute, and while creating a draft of 285 millimeter of water column. Now they are asking you to calculate the power required to drive the fan in kilowatt, and which is having, the fan is having an efficiency of 80%. So yes, basic things you need to know that how to calculate the power of a fan. So one simple thing understanding is the power, which is the hydraulic power at the fan outlet, can be calculated by just multiplication of the pressure into discharge. The pressure against which the fan is discharging and the discharge. And you also need to know the units, right? So in order to find out the hydraulic power in kilowatt, you need to calculate the pressure in kilopascal and the discharge in meter cube per second. So suppose what they have given 100 meter cube per minute, naturally this has to be, this is typographical error, it's 100 meter cube per minute, it has to be converted into meter cube per second, so that will be 1.67 meter cube per second after rounding off. And then 285 millimeter of water column, you need to know the relationship between millimeter of water column and kilopascal. So millimeter of water column multiplied by 0.00981 gives you the kilopascal. So rounding off, it comes to 2.8. Hydraulic power can be calculated as pressure into discharge. So multiply this, you get 4.68 kilowatt. And since the fan efficiency is 80%, if you want to find out the power required to drive the fan, that is the input of the fan, input power of the fan, so divided by efficiency, you get a value of 5.85. This is a simple way of doing it, but I would suggest that you do not calculate this 100 meter cube per minute into 100 meter cube per second as 1.67 meter cube per second. Keep it as 100 by 60. Similarly, whatever the KPA value you have got, don't calculate it. The final calculation will be done as the power required to drive the fan is 100 by 60. Use the two brackets. So 100 by 60 within one bracket into 285 into 0.0091. Then put the whole thing into second bracket. That whole divided by 0.8. That's what we have done. Now, while using the calculator, use the brackets. So 2 bracket, 100 by 60, bracket close, into 285 into 0.00981, again bracket close, divided by 0.8. Now this way you have much less calculations to do, and your answer, which is 582, is more correct answer than 5.85 kilowatt. So if you maintain this practice, this is going to help you a lot in solving the numerical questions. And again, I am asserting this, that put a little more time in the preparation of numerical questions, particularly if you're going for Gujarat IBR, Maharashtra IBR, Jharkhand IBR, Chhattisgarh IBR. Now, all these 4 states are having almost 50-50 loading on the numerical and theoretical questions, right? As I already explained, that it is easier to score in numerical questions. Put a little more focus on the numerical problem solving capability of yours, right? Okay, so that will be all for this video. Our next video, we can look for the practical tips on preparation of engineering drawing. We are trying to create one more video on this and bring it to you for your help. And of course, if you want to get the intimation from time to time, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. And again, let me tell you this, that you can avail the whole course as online course, where I'm going to give you all the detail in various video lectures as well as live sessions. You can get it from the website boeonline.in. That's all for this video. See you in the next video again. Thank you and bye-bye.